Lieutenant General Edward Kenneth Smart, May 23, 1891 to May 2, 1961, was a career officer in the Australian Army, and subsequently a diplomat. Ken Smart was born May 23, 1891 in Kew, an inner suburb of Melbourne, Australia, and was educated at Melbourne Church of England Grammar School. He was commissioned into the Corps of Australian Engineers as a second lieutenant on July 18, 1910. On December 1 he was promoted to lieutenant in the Royal Australian Garrison Artillery, and by 1914 was an officer of the Siege Artillery Brigade commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Walter Adams Coxon. On June 12, 1915 he married Phyllis E. Robertson. Smart enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force, AIF, on May 21, 1915, and on July 17 the Siege Artillery Brigade embarked upon HMAT Orsova, A67, from Melbourne, arriving England 25 August. Smart arrived in France on March 2, 1916, and saw action at Vimy region May before becoming involved in the Battle of the Somme from June 1916 to March 1917. In September 1916, during the course of heavy fighting in which he was wounded, his actions led to him being awarded the Military Cross. The citation reads, Lieutenant Edward Kenneth Smart, RRD. For conspicuous gallantry in action. Although wounded, he observed throughout the day with great courage and skill, sending back valuable information. He has previously done fine work. On December 13, 1916 he was appointed adjutant of the 36th Heavy Artillery Group, HAG, and promoted to the rank of captain. During 1917 he was placed in command of 39th Battery, 10th Australian Field Artillery Brigade, 4th Australian Division, and saw action in Messines, May-June, near Newport, July, and near Dixmude, October. In November 1917 he took a position at Headquarters 4th Divisional Artillery as a brigade major trainee, and in December he was mentioned in dispatches. In April 1918 Smart took a position at Headquarters Australian Corps near Albert, and in June was promoted to brevet major, taking command of the 110th Howitzer Battery, 10th Australian Field Artillery Brigade. Involved in heavy fighting in August and September, he was seriously wounded on September 27, and subsequently recommended for the Distinguished Service Order. His service in the First World War resulted in 9 entries in the Australian War Memorials Honours and Awards database. After discharge from the AIF, Smart remained in the Army and from May 31 to October 1, 1919 attended Artillery College in England. He returned to Australia and, from February 16 to September 10, 1920, served as officer commanding No. 6 Company, Royal Australian Garrison Artillery, 3rd Military District in Victoria. Smart then returned to England until February 1925 where he served in a number of positions. On return to Australia, Smart served in a number of positions until January 1936. On January 16, 1936, Smart took up the position of Military Liaison Officer in the High Commissioner's Office in London, serving there until August 25, 1939, being promoted to brevet colonel in July 1937. On return to Australia, and the outbreak of the Second World War, on October 13, 1939 Smart was promoted to Major General and appointed Quartermaster General and 3rd Military Member of the Military Board at Army Headquarters in Melbourne. On October 24, 1940 he was promoted to Temporary Lieutenant General and appointed General Officer Commanding, Southern Command, and District Officer commanding the 3rd Military District. In April 1942 he was made Substantive Lieutenant General and was appointed Australian Military Representative in Washington, D.C., or head of the Australian military mission to the United States. In August 1942 he was appointed Australian Army Representative in London, as well as being head of the Australian military mission to the UK, he was Australia's representative on the Imperial War Council. He remained in this position until his retirement from the Australian Army on July 2, 1946. From London Smart proceeded to San Francisco where he served as Australian Consul General from 1946 to 1949, and then to New York, where he continued to serve as Australian Consul General from 1946 until his retirement in 1954. Smart married Phyllis E. Robertson, daughter of Lieutenant Colonel J. Robertson, on June 12, 1915. They had 2 children, a son and a daughter. Smart's recreations were walking and motoring, and his club was the Navy, Army, and Air Force Club in Melbourne. Smart died on May 2, 1961. Honors awarded to Ken Smart until 1920. Distinguished Service Order. Military Cross. 1914 to 15 Star. British War Medal. Victory Medal also, mentioned in dispatches, December 28, 1917 and July 11, 1919.